Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Mile High Game Guys Board Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Adrian.
I'm Zach.
And I'm Jeff.
I almost want to say I'm still Zach.
Well, it sounded like you almost ended up in a question there.
I'm Zach.
Am I still Zach? I've been taking double dose of all my cough medicine all weekend. Oops.
Yep.
Huzzah. Anyway, this episode is a Friday episode, so it is a featured episode, a special one, not so rambly and ridiculous. And this week, we are going to do something a little bit different. So back in episode 95, amongst calling us on a bunch of our shit, one of our listeners, Mark, also totally spoiled a surprise that we were going to start doing look-back episodes. You know, he'd asked if we'd ever go back and look at them, which that's what we're going to do on this episode. Terraforming Mars is probably the podcast's favorite game. Not necessarily any of our individual favorite games, but since it was the 2016 unanimous game of the year.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And I know we all still play it fairly regularly. And so it unites us.
Mm-hmm.
Most games divide us. I start talking about 18XX and Zach just glazes over. Jeff starts talking about Blood Bowl and Zach and I just kind of both make eye contact over the mics and mime a gun to our heads. You know, whereas Terraforming Mars...
Yeah, I mind a gun to your head. Yeah,
it
right.
brings us together. So normally when we do these look back episodes that we're going to start doing more after the actual 2-year anniversary coming up in a few weeks, most of those are going to be more of a broad spectrum where we're going to be like, hey, 2 years ago in April, we reviewed these 4 games. Here's a look back at all 4 real brief.
Mm-hmm.
Terraforming Mars, we're going to do a little different because it is such a game that we play so much. And it also has had 2 expansions. So we're going to kind of look back on the base game and how it holds up and how we still feel about it. If any of our opinions have changed, if we've learned anything new about the game. Then we're going to review those 2 expansions, and then we're going to discuss a little bit about what we are looking forward to and what information we have about the next expansion, which is Prelude. So that is kind of the idea for this episode. To start us off here, we last reviewed Terraforming Mars way, way, way back. Offhand, do either one of you want to take a crack at how many episodes so one of 2 things. You can either guess what episode it was, or more interestingly, how many episodes have we done since we reviewed Terraforming Mars?
Like the bi-weekly episodes count?
Numbered episodes.
Numbered episodes. I'm going to say...
So we're recording, this week was episode 97. So how many episodes have we done since?
I'm going to guess 80 episodes ago.
You are damn close.
Okay.
79.
81.
Damn, it's the other way. I knew it was 16 or 18. I was one of those 2.
Episode 16.
18 was Scythe?
I don't have that information pulled up, but I think it was.
He doesn't have the master list of episodes
Jesus
pulled up?
Christ, man.
Well, I'd have to close the Terraforming Mars thing I have
What kind of
pulled up.
fucking producer are you?
A terrible one. So yeah, way, way back. It was released Wednesday, October 19th, 2016. So young. So fresh.
It was a much better time.
It was long before anyone could actually buy a copy of the game.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we were starry-eyed, full of optimism.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're jaded and cynical. It was a hour and 37-minute episode, including a discussion of Kickstarter effect.
And I'm also...
banter, news, Kickstarter, review, discussion of the day, and we did the results of a contest. I don't remember what contest that was. But
how long was our review of our review?
The review timestamp started at 23 minutes, 43 seconds.
What? How did we...
Then we talked about Terraforming Mars for another, hour?
And then Terraforming Mars' final thoughts began at 52 minutes, 48 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
The discussion of the day started at 58 to 28.
Okay.
We did
33 minutes.
we did all 3 of our final thoughts on Terraforming Mars in 6 minutes, guys.
I don't buy it. No, I just can't. The fact, like, we got banter, news, and Kickstarter in 22 minutes.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, what monsters were we?
Yeah.
Banter began at 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
News and Kickstarters started at 12 minutes 50 seconds. I feel like banter had to have just been, what have you played? Oh, I played, which according to the notes, opening up the episode, our hosts mentioned a couple of newly played and finished games, Joking Hazard and Pandemic Legacy Season 1. Jeff shows his excitement for his upcoming Blood Bowl season. And then we move into news. Some interesting news from Essen is talked about, including Pandemic and Ludicreation's Steal This Game. Jeff starts our Terraforming Mars review with a rule overview. And then
when did I do a rule overview?
I wonder if that was a typo or if you actually did the rule overview.
I doubt it.
And they dive into the components, gameplay, and quote, required variants. The hosts then move on to our discussion topic, Kickstarter. When did we start using it? Do we still use it? Is it good for the industry? What about Kickstarter exclusives? These questions and more lurk within. Finally, we announce the winner of our giveaway. As always, thanks for listening and enjoy. Yeah, so that was the information.
We'd be most of the way through the episode at this point. To be fair, news would be over.
Yeah.
Oh, the good old days. So it was a long time ago. We should have for homework listened to it so we could have heard everything we said about Terraforming Mars. It would have been like a 10-minute prep thing.
Yes, because it was that short.
Yeah.
But to kind of keep this somewhat guided here a little bit, when we reviewed it, Jeff, I believe you had the only copy, and you had...
Almost literally in the United States.
Yes. Certainly in the city of Denver. Almost certainly in the city of Denver, I should say. Yeah, and I believe you had the game trays at that point. I think you had gotten your game tray vacuum tray. No?
I didn't get that until November.
Okay.
Near Thanksgiving.
So we had reviewed this pure game. No inserts, no custom player boards, nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about pimping this game out.
Okay.
Because that seems to have become... So Terraforming Mars, still one of the biggest complaints I hear and see online is that the component quality is not ideal. We touched on that in the episode. The player boards, little flimsy. I personally still to this day get in unwise arguments on Facebook.
Not about this, just in general.
Well, it definitely in general, but also about this. Because I do not understand what kind of monsters are playing board games that they just regularly smash the tables so hard that these player boards are unusable. It's like everybody who complains about Terraforming Mars has never even heard of Eclipse and what a nightmare those cubes are. But because there is so many complaints about that, hooray capitalism, there is a wide variety of solutions. There are two major inserts, the Broken Token and the Meeple Realty insert.
Mm-hmm.
There is what Jeff has, the Game Trays vacuum insert things.
The player boards.
Just the player boards.
And then they have made a Daedalus has made an insert that goes with those game trays.
Yes.
And game trays has become much bigger since the Terraforming Mars days.
Yes.
That basically started them.
Yeah. They had just a couple little things on there, and the website was a little rough back in the day.
I remember.
But now they're like fucking everywhere. They're making inserts that just come with the fucking game now.
Yep.
Yeah, they've really gotten into like the vacuum formed, like complete.
Mm-hmm.
So the games just come ready to go. You don't need to buy a second aftermarket insert.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start there with game trays. Since we're talking about them. Jeff, how do you feel about your game trays player boards for Terraforming Mars?
Do you remember how much they cost too?
No. I remember them being like $6 each.
Sounds about right.
$5 each. And then it was like $5 for all the stickers that would actually like color the spots. I only ordered the stickers because on the thing online, it showed just a bare spot. And then when I got them, it actually vacuum formed like the symbols for the areas. And I was like, I wouldn't have gotten the stickers if I'd known that.
And it would have taken like 5 more weeks.
Yeah, it took forever just because of the stickers.
Yeah.
They currently have the game trays for $5.79, but I think that's each.
Yes, that is each.
And you got, I think it was like, you got a special because it was like the first run of them.
It was like $1 off or something. A pre-order discount.
Like 20 for 5 or something like that.
Yeah. I like them, especially where you don't have a whole insert that goes in there. You can still keep everything kind of in the original bags and whatever you use. They don't really fit the box very well. I guess, with a lot of it's a very tight package,
Yes,
even
it
with
is.
those.
Especially when you get the expansions.
Yeah. The plastic trays are nice. They have a nice slide between the energy and the thermal area.
Yep.
It's like a little ramp.
Yes.
Have your energy do a kickflip on the.
And turn itself into thermal.
Yes.
I don't know. I've not been disappointed by them in any way, shape, or form.
No, it keeps all the things separated like it needs to.
And then it does have the nice 10 plus spot and 20 plus spot, and I think the money has a 30 and 40 on
I think
there.
at
Even?
30 because then you can do 30 and 10 for 40.
Yeah.
So you can technically do 60 plus.
Yeah.
After that, though.
And I have noticed a lot of other trays don't have as many of those extra spots for the bonus spots.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You have the gray one, right?
Yes, I got space gray. There was options for other.
I saw there was a clear one, and I'm like, that's too.
Yeah.
No.
Someone at Geekway had ended up buying the ding and dent game tray area.
Oh yeah.
Of just there was weird mold lines and stuff on them, and I was like, all right, fair enough. And that's where I saw a clear one. I was like, no, no clear.
Right on.
I guess you could just spray paints.
Yes. Yeah.
Have either of you played with the Meeple Realty set?
No.
Okay. I have once when I went on the Heavy Cardboard live stream because they're sponsored by Meeple Realty. So they got the Meeple Realty set for when they reviewed Terraforming Mars. The Meeple Realty one is interesting. They do a couple things. They have options where you can either get just the player boards or you can get the player boards and full insert or the insert without the player boards. And their player boards actually utilize the cardboard ones that come in the game. They're they clamp down over it, on the back and the front.
Okay.
So you still see all the color and graphic design of those player boards. And then the main spaces are like a clear acrylic. And then the edges of it are the wood. They have for a first player marker in their insert a little Mars rover, and their ocean tile thing comes out and sits on the board and even has a little arrow that points 0 through 9 for the different ocean tiles. The one thing that I really appreciate for them is the player cubes have their own wells and it closes, and the money has its own wells that close.
Okay.
So if you have it in there in the box and you turn the box sideways,
it doesn't
spill out. But yeah, they cost $39.99 if you want just the 5-player overlays. And it's $59.99 for the overlays and the entire insert. They're pretty nice. Meeple Realty does some solid work. The one thing that I think their insert lacks compared to the Broken Token is I don't like their card solution.
Gotcha.
Their card holding solution as much as I like the one in the Broken Token. Broken Token we've all played with now because I have the full Broken Token. Paul has the full Broken Token. Zach, do you?
No, I don't. I just own the game.
Correct.
Like a real piece of shit.
You son of a bitch. I mean, to be fair, I only owned the game until my birthday this month when Megan bought me the Broken Token. The Broken Token has a card tower, so the cards sit out and it makes it really easy to just have the deck, and if they're sleeved or not sleeved, they don't, you don't have to worry about the deck falling over or being shuffled. It sits really nice, and you can have the 2 tiers for the draw pile and the discard, and it's great. Their player boards are fully standalone. They don't have...
They're not an overlay at all.
Yeah, so they're kind of etched on the back of the wood.
Yeah.
Which is great if you have players who know the game and understand it. I do find that sometimes teaching new players not having the color associations for the steel being brown.
Oh, yeah.
And the titanium being the black and yellow. It makes it a little bit harder for them to relate those goods to the symbols that they need to. And same thing for energy and heat. The colors help, I think, teach new players.
Right.
Now, since they don't use those player boards, you can still just hand somebody the player board to reference with it. My biggest complaint with the Broken Token one is that the wells for the money, they are not covered in any way, shape, or form. And so you basically can only keep the box horizontal with that insert. If you turn it on its side, you can hear the rain of little cubes
falling,
especially the copper ones.
1,000 little asteroids falling down.
It's like those old rain sticks you made in school where you drilled a bunch of nails and put beans in them.
Yeah. It also has a thing for all the specialty tiles too.
Yes.
Individually placed.
Which the Meeple Realty does as well.
Okay.
Slightly different design, but similar function. That is handy. Its first player marker is a rocket.
Yes.
Which is pretty cool.
And then it also replaced the each of the trackers
Correct.
for oxygen, population, and whatnot.
Yeah, which I believe Meeple Realty did as well. Yeah, they did. So that's a pretty common thing to get replaced as well. I'm really happy with my broken token one. It put together really well. I didn't have any issues there. I know Paul has one of his player boards that's pretty loose in one of the corners. The pieces didn't quite go together well. Nothing a little wood glue wouldn't fix.
Right.
So. And then I'm not familiar at all with the data lists, which would go with your game trays.
Yeah, doesn't seem to be as fancy as a lot of those other ones. It doesn't replace any of the pieces. It has little like plastic tubs inside the wooden like holders for all of your cube colors and stuff, which you can get in. It's like you can have a green tub for the green ones and a red one for the reds, etc. No specialized tile holders or anything like that. It does have card holders, which is pretty standard. Because there's a lot of cards to hold.
Right.
Downside is, like, I already own the trays, and I can't order just all of the other stuff without ordering more trays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Or at least I have not been able to find a way to do that. Hence me not doing that, because it's another $55 for the insert when I've already bought the trays that are a fairly decent chunk of that on there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I did forget to mention the broken token is $49.99 for that one. So basically, there are plenty of options, whether you just want to upgrade the player boards, whether you want a full insert, whether you want to replace some of the components. I mean, I've seen things that replace tiles, that replace the money cubes.
Well, and there's even cheaper of just overlays that just cover they're clear plastic. You can do 3D print models of those things too.
Yep. Which, if you're in the States, a lot of your local libraries these days have a 3D printer. You can get 1 or 2 hour print times and, print the files you can find online. So you can print your own overlay or player board thing. So there's plenty of options to upgrade that. I do understand some of the people's complaints with it. I think they're a little overblown. People act like it's the worst thing ever. I still do think it gets judged unfairly due to the proximity of its release to Scythe, which had just the sweetest double layer player boards of all time. But yeah. So you still haven't really ever played your copy, right, Zach?
No, really, I got it for just in case.
Yeah.
And just be like, I have it now. I don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
And then, if I ever have somebody over or something like that, be like, oh, we can play this, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything else like that. So,
okay.
Then I just worry about my cat jumping on the table and just be like, fuck everything.
Correct.
Fuck all your games.
Yeah.
Hooray, cats.
Yeah.
Jeff, how is your copy holding up these days?
I sleeved all the cards, so fine.
Okay.
The cubes are
a little
chipping at corners, specifically the bronze ones, the small ones. But
and then you're the insert for your bot, like the main insert, like you got rid of that. No,
I couldn't use that with the game trays.
Yeah.
This is like the first original printing insert,
right.
So and it was
broken anyway.
Yeah, I think it came pre-shredded.
Pretty much, yeah.
In the box, pre-crushed.
Yep.
Yeah. Mine is a newer edition, so it didn't have nearly the same problem with the insert, and the broken token actually had instructions to move the insert around a little bit, the one that came with it, the cardboard trench, to kind of fill up a little empty space on the edges.
Gotcha.
But so it is still technically in there, but you can't really tell because all of the broken token stuff. I have not sleeved my cards. They are still, I think, holding up fine. I haven't noticed anywhere. I've gotten a lot of play of it in the last, 4 or 5 months on my copy in particular.
Because you've done a lot of solo and duo games.
Yeah. And I haven't really noticed any issues with my cubes starting to chip. I think that was definitely like a first edition thing. I think the newer editions, they've upped the quality of the paint just a little bit so that they don't chip as bad. I don't want to say it all because, paint chips. It's what it does. So I think that covers everything that we really could touch on for component wise. Just that our copies are all still holding up, that play them regularly. Zach, I'm sure your copy's in great shape.
Oh, it's in the best shape.
And then there are plenty of options if you are unhappy with the quality of the player boards. There are plenty of options available, especially now that Terraforming Mars itself has gone down significantly in price. It's not nearly like you're paying $120, $130 to get it and all of the inserts.
That is correct.
You're spending more on like the 80 to 90 range. So let's talk a little bit about the game itself, the gameplay, how it still holds up, whether we still like it, things like that. We'll save how much we like it still or don't like it for the end, for a final thought kind of a situation. But have you guys noticed anything new gameplay-wise that's really stood out to you? Strategies that seem overly dominant, corporations that seem overly dominant, anything like that?
Well, clearly the city building corporation is still the most dominant, and we sort of knew that immediately.
I mean, it's always definitely been a favorite. I don't know if I'd say it's overly dominant, but I've seen it lose a fair amount.
I think
If
what
I
it
get
is,
that corporation, I'm not picking any other corporation.
No, I understand it, but I think what it is that there are certain corporations that have one thing that they're really good at, and if nobody fights them on that, then they become dominant. So the city building ones with cities, the eco line with plants, stuff like that, or the heat like and they get a bunch of thermal stuff and like nobody stops them, or the Jupiter one and they get the Jupiter cards and stuff like that.
And no one gives a shit about the like space event corporation.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want with those stupid space events.
Go for it. It's fun. And then there still are a couple that everyone is just like, these sort of stuck, like the creditor one, where you get a lot of money and then the big events cost you a little less.
Yeah.
But that's about it. And the space Phobo.
The Phobo
log.
Yeah, Phobo log. The fob log. The fob log.
They're the anything with the titanium thing on there.
Well, that one is just it's just like you get so little money to start with that if you don't get good space cards in your opening hand, you can't choose that one, which sucks because I did enjoy that one, especially if you get the certain cards that work well with it.
Right.
But you're just like, oh, it sucks.
Yeah. I've noticed that the one, I don't remember the name of it, that the one that gives you the plus or minus to requirements as your base power, if you get a starting hand with a few tiles that have like 3 or 5 ocean prereqs, those are meant to be like mid to late game, and you can bust those out way quick.
Oh, yeah.
Find a good, hopefully somebody will play an asteroid or something, get 1 water down, and all of a sudden now you can play the 3 because you can go plus 2 water. And then you get a couple more water out there. Now you're playing that 5. Like, you're just playing those so far ahead of when they, I think, are balanced for, that can be very powerful, but it's heavily dependent on you getting those cards that have those water prereqs.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's nearly as powerful for temperature or oxygen prereqs because skipping 1 or 2 of those isn't skipping, huge chunks of game time. Yeah.
And I think us just playing more, realizing, especially because we do drafting, like we don't play without drafting. You do?
Sometimes.
Really? That's surprising.
I know.
When did you start doing that?
I play without drafting with new people sometimes still.
Oh,
I've actually come to, because it can be very unfair to play. Like if I play a game where we're drafting and I'm teaching two new players, they don't know, not only do they not know what to draft for themselves, they don't know what to hate draft for me. And it's not fair.
Yes, I would agree with that.
So I had to grudgingly embrace playing. Plus it does go quicker. If you don't draft, especially again with new players. With experienced players, I don't think drafting adds much to the overall time. It adds more to each individual round, but because people build better engines, the game itself is moving at a slightly quicker pace. So I think with experienced players, drafting maybe adds 20 minutes.
Yeah.
With new players who don't know things and everything, it can add like an hour.
Right. Yeah.
So if it's one new person, I might just throw them to the wolves. But it
depends on what type of gamer they are anyway.
Exactly. Like when I play with my mom and my brother who aren't gamers really at all, but like Terraforming Mars, typically don't play drafting.
Gotcha.
But otherwise, with gamers, drafting.
Yes. When drafting, we know better what things to keep, to not let certain people get, quote unquote, game breaking combos and stuff like that.
Yeah. And also, I think we've gotten better as we've played at learning to not hold on to something that won't be useful for too long.
Yes.
Like we typically play, I think, at 4, sometimes 5. We don't really play 3 very often.
Usually because whenever we're playing, it's like, oh, I also want to play Terraforming Mars.
Yeah, everybody's like, oh, we're doing this? Sweet. So consequently, with 5 players, you're going to move through that deck. Like, so you can throw away starting hand cards that are high level cards and have a reasonable chance that you'll at least see them again, if not actually get them again.
Right.
So that was in that Prelude thing from last week's episode where we'd mentioned required variants. I think drafting was the only one at the time. We were like, yeah, drafting, which I still, if you're familiar with games and the people you're playing with are familiar, I think drafting is the superior way to play.
Yeah.
For sure. I could just see now circumstances where you might not draft.
Well, I also remember we were talking about, because it has the corporate era versus non-corporate era ones.
Oh,
too.
I have not played non-corporate era.
Yeah. Well, I remember when we were reviewing this, I hadn't played it enough because I still felt that adding the extra stuff in the corporate era is like, I didn't felt it was worth the extra time. But now playing it enough, it's like, okay, like I wouldn't go back to not playing without them probably. So
yeah, whereas I don't think I've played without corporate era except for like those first like 1 or 2 games. Also, I mean, it's just a pain to sort through the deck and pull them back out. Like they're in there. That's where they live now.
It's not too bad, but yeah.
It's where they live now.
Yes.
One of 2 variants that I do regularly play with, and there's some contention on the show for one of them.
Indeed.
But the first one, I don't think there will be contention. I don't know. Maybe you guys will blow up in my face. When I do play with 3 players, I do like to do hands of 5, draft 4, toss 1, and then buy from those 4.
Yeah.
Just because in 3 players, the deck doesn't move as well. And that helps cycle through that deck a bit more. So you get a chance of it shuffling at least once in the game, which I think with all unique cards, getting through that deck at least once is a good thing for the game.
Or no one's ever going to see fish.
Yeah.
Right. Something that is very important might not ever come out.
Yeah, no, I remember when we first started doing that, and I would agree with that. And I remember, I still remember like you guys even wanting to do it on 4, like with 4 players.
I think we tried it once, and we went through the deck like twice, and it was just too much.
Yeah.
I remember our scores were very high.
Well, yeah, and then I was also thinking, like, I remember somebody mentioned, like, we should do 6 and then toss 2. And it's like, that's just getting too much choice.
Yeah.
You're getting the perfect thing you need.
Yeah, which you need to have some constraints. So the 5, draw 5 and then toss 1 works well just because it is digging through that deck, but you aren't getting that much better of a hand.
No.
The other thing that I do, and this is where there's the contention, I have started playing again, especially with new players, but even in regular games of Terraforming Mars, I have embraced a variant that comes out of the Venus Next expansion, where at the end of the turn, once everybody's passed, whoever's the active player bumps 1 parameter, either temperature, oxygen, or placing a water, before passing the first player marker and starting the next turn. Because it's just another small step that I feel speeds up the overall game time without drastically affecting strategy or things like that. And I know Jeff does not agree.
No. I mean, it's there for Venus because you have another track to make it so the game, I mean, it's even like in the Venus rulebook, it's like, and if you want a longer game, just don't do that. It's an option to like not have that bump in there.
Right.
And I don't think the base game is balanced around that extra bump. The game's going to end too quickly.
And I have not been able to find it. I had been looking for it and did not show, but I had seen somewhere where the designer said that was something they had planned on having in the initial game that they took out for a rules overhead reason and then had to add in for the variant or for the expansion, and that they were fine with it.
But I was not able to find that in any official FAQ or rulebook or digital rulebook or rulebook that I have physically.
Yeah. So, and like I said, I looked for it and I couldn't find anything in any like listing as an official variant, but I do use that as a variant. Yeah. So
I could take it or leave it. It does. I don't know. I feel like the past couple games where we did it ended up like, I felt like they were the longest Terraforming Mars games that I've played, for the last couple ones that actually had those. Because then I feel that some people decided to like, oh, because we can move the parameters up with here, I'm going to actually just build my engine that isn't around terraforming, like getting those terraforming points a bit more.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of those things where you can thwart that. Like if you notice people aren't pumping parameters, then crush parameters quick, and because the pumping parameters bumps your terraforming rating, which is points. So if people aren't pushing that and one person is, that person's the one getting the points.
No, you're not wrong.
So I know that's
I felt like doing it. I didn't feel like it really increased, like it shortened the game is all.
Yeah. I mean, depending on how much you're raising parameters in a given turn, like, it shaves maybe 2 or 3 turns off. Because in theory,
in theory, in theory, yes, but I feel like the last couple games have been the same length as they were when we played in the beginning. But they were just weirder games.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, here it is. So just for your edification, Jeff, there's a thread in the forums, variants for a shorter game, where Jacob Frixelius says world government terraforming, aka solar phase. I just want to set things straight regarding this. Terraforming Mars has a new phase after the production phase, the solar phase. This is mainly for things concerning all players and will be used by several expansions. First step is to check if Mars is completely terraformed, and if so, the game ends, just like normal, and the rest of the solar phase is skipped. Second step is world government terraforming, which is used when playing Venus Next. The first player raises one of the global parameters. More steps will be added with future expansions. You can play Venus Next without using world government terraforming without Venus Next is not an official variant. It can be done, but the downside is that if you do that, then Venus Next will feel longer, which is not intended. So, and he does say absolutely do not use world government terraforming if you're playing solo without Venus Next. that will lose you the game.
Yes, it would.
So he does mention one of the other things that I kind of skipped over. He says that it was mainly done not to shorten the game, but to keep it from getting longer with adding expansions.
Right.
So
that
which
makes sense.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can use it to shorten the game if you don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, not an official variant, but a variant that I like, especially again with new players who aren't super gamey. So that especially because for them, they don't know to. They might not focus on terraforming in the first place. They get bogged down in all the other stuff. It's experienced gamers who know that terraforming and pushing those parameters is the way you play the game that approach that differently. So, yeah. So that covers variants. Anything else gameplay-wise or anything else you want to talk about Terraforming Mars in general? Or shall we just go to what our revised opinions of the game are?
I like to keep all the cards that come with the game in the game.
Good call. Jeff, you bitch. How dare you call me out like that?
Indeed.
I forgot all about that, even though that does come up later in the listener feedback section. But sure, we'll get to it now. Paul and myself do not play with all of the cards that came in the game. Paul and I both take out the Sabotage card, which is 1 cost event card that is -3 titanium or -4 steel or -7 money. And that's it. 3 titanium, 4 steel, 7 money from 1 player. It is a complete just dick fuck you card. There is no benefit to the player playing it other than hurting someone else's economy, which we feel is
which Adrian and
to,
Paul feel.
Right. The two of us who I said take it out of the game.
I know. I'm just clarifying what we is.
Mm-hmm.
I have also, and I don't know if Paul does this one as well. I know he took out Sabotage. I think Paul's taken out 3 cards, actually.
Demos down.
I have taken out, no, God, I'd never take out Demos down. That's my favorite.
But it takes away 8 plants from someone.
But it has actual benefits for the player playing it.
All I hear is
water and...
All I hear is tears.
Yeah, I'm just,
The other one that I have taken out of my copy, and I have them both in front of me because they're not in my copy of the game. Virus. It is a 1 cost event card, -2 animals or 5 plants from any player. Again, it's another one. It's not... I leave the steel in there because the steel, you take them from another player and put them on yours. It's a, this hurts you, it benefits me. There's more of a reason to play it than just, oh, fuck you. I don't like, oh, fuck you for no reason in most games, especially not in my Terraforming Mars.
No, I mean, there's a reason.
Yeah, because fuck you.
I don't consider that a valid reason.
Well,
fuck you.
Yeah.
Correct.
Jeff and I are both of the opinion that they are just crybabies.
Yes.
And want to play little kid versions of this game.
Indeed.
Terraforming Mars.
I mean, to be fair, even when I had those in the game, like I've pulled them out. Like Virus, I only pulled out recently because the main and part of the reason I've pulled them out is the people I play with never play those cards. So they're just taking up deck space and are a wasted draw. They get passed around and nobody takes them, and
maybe that's what they're there for. Not every card can be good.
I mean, most cards in the game are good.
Yeah. I mean, I think all the cards have a specific thing. It's like the seals that is on like that super early card game that if you don't see in the beginning becomes a dead draw. I wouldn't take that card out of the game.
No, because it has a use.
Yeah, that has a use. Those
Be-
both have
Could be
uses.
assholes.
That's a
Fine.
use. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, you're in the lead. I don't want you to be in the lead anymore. Or I'm in the lead. I don't want you to catching up to me while I'm in the lead. So fuck this.
I feel that they're very rarely used in either of those situations. They're more like, oh, for some reason I have a personal vendetta against you, so I'm just going to kill some of your money or some of your stuff. And I've never seen them used in anything strategic. Mostly I never see them used. And when I do see them used, it's usually just spiteful. It's not in any way part of a grand strategy or usefulness.
How many asteroids are in this game?
A bunch.
And how many times do you just point at whoever has the most plants and whether it's spiteful or not?
I usually try to be very strategic with my asteroids.
I try and be very strategic with those cards.
Yes.
Have you ever actually played one of those cards?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I've played them both.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
You know what? From now on, I'm always going to be playing them
You
on
know what?
Adrian.
I'm going to be spiteful now.
Yeah.
And just only you.
Yeah.
Well, fortunately, we don't ever play with Zach's copy.
We'll play with Jeff's copy.
Indeed. I have 4 extra cards in the game because I have all the promos.
I have 3 of the 4 promos.
I ordered a magazine from Europe, which I think was the Penguins
Yep.
promo.
Speaking of the promos, do you have the 4 of those pulled up, Jeff?
Yeah, there was one that was like the small asteroid that was in like with some pre-order copies.
Mhm.
Pretty, just
It's a small asteroid, yeah.
temperature, and remove 2 plants. Dice Tower had a promo. Was
Mhm.
that the replicating robot?
Yes.
I think so. I fucking love that card.
It is weird rules wise.
Yes, but it can be super powerful, especially if you get it early.
Because you reveal in
So-
place.
So you place any card
Space or
card.
building.
On replicating robots. So you build replicating robots
Mhm.
normally. Then you
It's a
take
blue
a card
card.
out of your hand and you put it on self-replicating robots, and then you put 2 cubes on it. And then in subsequent turns as an action, you can double the number of cubes. So it goes from 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16. At any time, you can build that card and use every cube on it as a discount. So you can use it to, if you get it early and you have a really expensive card that's a good late game card, you can just set it there and start building up cost on that
Soletta
card.
for like 35.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and just sit there and 2, 4, 8, 16, 32.
Okay.
And then I spend $3 to build Soletta. Boom.
Yeah.
And that's 5 turns in.
Yeah.
It has 2 science tag requirement, so it doesn't come out too early. Like
No.
you're not going to get this out like second turn unless
But
you're the science corp.
There is a the corporation that has a science tag.
Which, as I recall, is a corp that most people don't play as.
The +2 -2 on
No,
the conditions.
they do. Which would then, probably really help them get to that one earlier.
Yeah.
That'd be brutal.
Penguins, which is that European magazine promo. It only costs 7, but it requires 8 ocean tiles to be out. But as one action, add an animal, and each one animal is a victory point.
Okay, so that's like the fish and one of the other cards that are they're late game cards that just add 1 and they're a point each.
Yes. And then snow algae. I don't remember where that one's from.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I have that one too.
But it requires 2 ocean tiles. It gives you a plant production and a thermal production for 12.
Yeah. Oh,
All the promos are pretty light. It's really the replicating robots one that's like,
that's the one that changes something the most or can be the most powerful.
yeah.
That one can get real out of hand.
Yes.
Especially again, like it's a science or building tag. So if you have science or if you have it's space or building tag. So if you have titanium or steel production, then you can combine those 2 things to really build some expensive cards in a pretty big hurry.
Yes.
Which is nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Right on. I think that's probably enough chit chat about the game itself. Variants, cards we don't play with, promos we do have, things like that.
Tactics we've built up over time.
So let's get to the meat of this here, or well, not the meat of this. Let's get to the point of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does Terraforming Mars stand up? And so this was unanimously voted our game of the year for 2016. We all 3 put it number 1. It's been the only time we've agreed on a number 1. I don't expect that to change here in 2018 so far. Do you still think it is worthy of a game of the year consideration like that? You think we were correct in giving it game of the year 2016? It is also currently number 4 strategy, number 5 overall on BGG. Do you feel that rating is appropriate? And how do you still feel about it? Zach, let's start with you as he nods yes.
All
Zach,
right.
we can't hear you nod.
I can hear myself nod. Well, I was checking to see what I had listed in 2016 as my rank of stuff. And I would still agree with Terraforming Mars as number one. I still really like it. Pets, still the best card. And I'm pretty sure all you fuckers spite draft that thing just so I don't get it.
Correct.
100%.
Yeah.
Because it's a good card.
Yeah.
You just always happen to get it.
Yeah, you fuckers never played, though.
Fun fact, we may or may not have learned / heard a rumor that the picture of the pet on Pets is Stephen Bonacour's actual dog.
Oh, I had not heard that.
Nice.
Jess had mentioned that.
We should have asked him.
Yeah.
We should have.
Yeah.
Why didn't you ask him?
Because I heard it afterwards.
It's probably
Why
true.
didn't you ask him before?
It's officially true now.
Yeah. That is a hot rumor.
Because I know
rumor.
Pets is always one of the cards that people point to when they complain about the artwork being inconsistent.
It's just a picture of a dog.
Yeah.
But I guess in like a sci-fi setting, it's like, hey, here's actual like frame of reference for what a dog looks like.
Yes.
Are we going to use an artistic representation of a dog,
No,
or just take a picture of a dog?
Picture of a dog. But yeah, I still really like it.
Do you have any thoughts on people's complaints about component quality or mismatched art that you want to?
The mismatched art never really bothered me. I was fine with it being different things.
There's so many cards in the game.
Yeah, there's so many cards in the game. I still think the player board could be better, but despite any problems with the quality, I still think it's a quality game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Jeff, how about you?
I could probably just answer yes to all of the questions. Yes, it's still a good game. Yes, it definitely deserves where it is on the BGG rankings. Yes, the components I'm still not thrilled with. But yes, there is lots of ways to fix that. It's still not as bad as Indonesia, where you throw away everything but the cards and replace them immediately. But
well, thankfully, Indonesia is not like $100 game.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
Hey, can we spit up good beer over here?
Well, don't worry, I'm just going to cough up a lung.
Yeah. I still don't play Terraforming Mars enough. It's as it continues tradition.
Yeah.
But everything about it still holds up and is still great.
Right on. Well, for me, my opinion is still the same. I think it was easily the best game that came out in 2016 that I'm aware of. I absolutely love it. I think it is a absolute blast to play. I have never had a bad time playing Terraforming Mars. I've had some games drag along, get a little tedious, but I still have a lot of fun. I really like the engine building. I really like the drafting. I like the way the board presence evolves from the flat red board, and then you start building cities and greenery and water. And by the end of it, the board looks completely different, and it's awesome. I love all of that. I have also, since the review episode, I have started playing it solo, and I've started playing it more at 2 players. It plays fantastic as both. Solo game is an interesting and new challenge for me because you are playing it against a clock, so you're much more pressed for time in a solo game, which forces you to optimize and teaches you to look at cards in a different way. Basically, like what is going to push the parameters the fastest. You know, you don't really have time to focus too much on extraneous things. And since it's a solo game and you're only trying to really beat the clock and then your personal score, scoring cards are significantly less valuable in the solo game, which is an interesting difference. Even with drafting, I'm surprised how well it plays at 2 players. It's become one of Megan and I's favorite games to play 2 players. You still have just a bunch of fun. I would say with 2 players, the pushing the parameters is more important, even just because each round there's less cards that are doing things. So the game takes more and more rounds if you don't use that world government terraforming thing from Venus Next. So we definitely do that. And we definitely do the draft 5 cards, keep 4, pitch 1, and then buy from those 4 just to help move through that deck. Even in doing that in a 2-player game, we don't move through the entire deck. We just get through more of it.
Right.
Which is nice. But yeah, absolutely love this game. Cannot wait for the next expansion. Really enjoy the 2 expansions. We'll talk about those here in a second. But I've been thoroughly impressed with Terraforming Mars. Still holds up. So, moving on from our look back at main Terraforming Mars, let's take a little bit of time and talk about the expansions. There are 2 primary expansions, and we'll talk about them in the order that they came out. Also, it's really easy to talk about them just in this order because the first one is super simple. It's the Hellas and Elysium expansion, which is literally just another board. There's really nothing else to it. It's one board that's double-sided. One side is a Hellas map. The other side is an Elysium map. And really, the entire point of this expansion seems to be if you have played Terraforming Mars a whole lot and you want a slightly different experience from that main map. If you've gotten really used to it and everybody does the same things and goes for the same awards, you can mix it up a bit with Hellas and Elysium.
And I would say the milestones and awards are really where this changes.
That's where you feel the biggest change, I think, overall. There's some subtle changes in like where water goes and where greenery, like where the 1 and 2 greenery tiles are, and like
because this is
things like that.
It's the reverse side of Mars, and then it's the southern pole of Mars.
Yeah. So Hellas is the reverse side, and then, the other way around. Elysium is the reverse side. Hellas is the south side. But yeah, they do a couple things. So one of my favorite little minor details for them is Elysium's the other side of Mars. And so compared to the original board, the temperature track and the standard project track and like the Phobos and Ganymede are reversed.
Yeah,
I
so
really like that.
Yeah, it's all mirrored.
Yeah, which is just a fantastic little tiny thematic bump onto that.
Yes. Victory point, or the Terraforming Mars terraforming rating track, still the same.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't go
Yes.
from right to left.
No.
Counterclockwise.
And oxygen still goes left to right across the
Yes.
top of the board. That didn't change either.
No.
And it's the text isn't mirrored either.
No.
It's like I can't read anything.
So on Elysium, there's a bunch, the water shifted more to the north. Plants are still across the center there along the equator. Some things do kind of go away with Elysium. You lose the Noctis City reserved spot.
Because you no longer have the giant trench
Yeah.
of that side of Mars.
Yeah, and so you still play with Noctis City. You could just now place it anywhere, which I think is probably my one major complaint with these is that they didn't find some way to address.
Mm-hmm.
To be fair, you could
Those-
just like take Noctis City out.
True.
Just one city card.
Sorry, say that again. I missed what you just said about Noctis City.
You can just place it anywhere.
Oh yeah. Any of those things that had requirements, like the
Right.
volcano ones. Yeah.
Which is one of my complaints
Oh.
with these new maps is that they just, I feel like that was kind of taking the easy way out. Like, oh, these things that had specific spots and had things you had to do, they just go wherever they want now. The volcanoes don't go wherever they want. They still have to go on one of the Mons spots.
Yeah.
Because
Which they
those are
have
the
put on the other.
volcanoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, there's slight changes to where like 2 titanium, 1 titanium are. There is now a Olympus Mons is on Elysium, which
the
gives
tallest
you
mountain in the solar system.
Mhm.
yeah, which gives you 3 cards, which is a pretty awesome spot.
Yeah.
It's over on the edge of the map. Yeah, but like Jeff said, the main thing that both of these add is the different milestone and awards.
It can get a little confusing of what they exactly mean on some of these.
Especially in this, I wish they'd included like in the shrink wrap, just like a reference card, a double-sided reference
Yeah.
card that you could stick to the side that explained the milestones and the awards
Now,
for each of the 2
The
things.
The package it comes in, it's kind of just like a little sleeve cover thing. It says it on the back of that,
Right.
but you have to save that
Yeah.
to
Which
reference that.
very few people do.
Yeah, I did. I tore off the piece that I
Smart
needed.
man.
Yep.
I did not. Mine is gone. But it does definitely change up the game. So on Elysium, they have the generalist, which is one of every type of tag, which is an interesting
Production.
one to go for. One of every production.
Yep.
Sorry. They have the specialist, which is getting any one production to 10. Ecologist, which is just having 4 of any combination of plant, animal, or bacteria tag.
Mhm.
And Tycoon, which is having 15 blue and green cards.
Yep.
And then Legend is playing 5 events,
Mhm.
correct?
Yes.
I think that these are all more feasible than the hold 16 cards one from
Yeah.
the base map. That one,
Which you're only ever getting with like this
The base corporation.
the base because you start with 10 cards.
Yeah.
yeah. So I do like that these feel more feasible for the type of games we play. Ecologist is, I think, one of the easiest ones, just getting 4 combinations of plant, animal, and bacteria tags. 5 events is also not too difficult.
Yeah, they're not too difficult, but they also, they will be easier for some people versus others, depending on if you just have a strategy that works towards those.
Correct.
And it seems like a lot of these milestones have maybe just a bit more to do to them than the ones on the original board.
I would believe that.
Yeah.
The awards for Elysium are Celebrity, which is most money, Industrialist, which is most steel and energy.
Units.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not production.
Cubes.
Desert Settler, which is an interesting one. That's the most south of the equator. The most tiles that you've placed.
Yeah, because there's not much down there.
No.
A lot of production stuff.
Then Estate Dealer, which is the most spaces adjacent to water tiles, which it's interesting that those two awards, the Desert Settler and the Estate Dealer, because of where the water is in the map, those are opposing.
Yes.
Like you're probably not catching both of those awards. If you are, holy crap, you're doing
hopefully
well.
for the rest of your people you're playing with.
Yeah.
And then the final one is Benefactor, which is the highest terraforming rating. And there's an important caveat that award scores first.
I mean, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because that way you don't get a bump from one of your other awards.
One other thing I do enjoy about the board that I have noticed, the star field on it is different.
It's also reversed over.
It's also
it's what the star field would be from the other side of Mars.
Exactly,
Yeah.
because they actually do label the stars and stuff on there, which I thought was interesting.
I hadn't noticed they actually labeled them before.
Yeah.
Jumping over to the Hellas board, the South Pole, it has the South Pole on it.
Indeed.
Which is kind of an interesting area, especially the South Pole itself. That tile, it costs you an extra 6 money to place anything there, but you immediately get to place a water tile anywhere else.
Indeed.
Well, any other water spot.
You've clearly melted all of the water
Right.
to place whatever you need there.
Yeah. And then the other 4 tiles kind of surrounding that South Pole tile all give you heat, which is interesting. We're going to the coldest part of Mars, so we get extra heat. It's like you would need heat, not that you would get heat.
I think it's more like you're getting rid of the water there, so it's
Yeah, I think you're releasing greenhouse gases.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get what it is thematically, just it seems funny. Like I'm going to the South Pole to get heat.
Yeah. Also, there's a big, huge water ocean, like
Yeah.
7 ocean hexes all right there.
This map breaks the capital city. So the capital city is a card in the first one that you get points in addition to greenery adjacent to it, water adjacent to it. In both so in the base map, you can get 4 water adjacent, I think. In
Yes.
one spot.
If you use the mangrove or
That's-
the water.
That's right. So it's 3 water
Yeah.
normally.
Artificial lake. That's what
Yeah.
it was. Yeah.
Water where there's not supposed to be water.
So you can get 3 normal water, not counting the
4
bonus one.
max. Yeah.
Elysium is the same way. 3 normal water, 4 max. Hellas is 2, and then 3 with that extra special rule breaker. The water is way different in this one, which makes it tougher to chain the water for money like you can in some of the others where you can place water in little clusters, except for that Hellas Planitia, which if somebody fucks up, you could potentially drop 1 in the center, grab 3 heat, and then 12 money from adjacent water tiles, which would be ridiculous.
Yes.
I've never seen that happen because most of the time it's like, oh, I can grab 6 money, placing a water tile. Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
This one also, because it is the South Pole, it shifts all the greenery to the north rather than a band across the center. And it has way more steel production and I think even a little bit more titanium. Not much, but I feel like it's a little bit more. Less card production on the board.
Yeah.
All of which I think are kind of interesting things. It's back to the original kind of position. I don't know if the stars are different, though. Now that you've got me wondering, I've never thought of that before.
The stars are different.
Okay. So this is the view of the stars from the South Pole, probably.
Indeed.
But Ganymede, Phobos, all that's back on the left. Standard projects back on the left. Temperature back on the right. The milestones for this one are Diversifier, which is 8 different tags. That one is redonkulous.
I'm sure.
It has Tactician, which is having 5 cards played that have a requirement. Polar Explorer, which is having 3 in the bottom 2 rows of tile spacement area. Energizer, 6 energy production, which is kind of an interesting one because there really hasn't been a lot of great rewards for energy production, and yet there are some strategies that go heavy on energy production.
Yes.
And then Rim Settler, 3 Jovian tags. As if a Jovian heavy strategy wasn't already a very dominant plan,
Yeah,
you can now capture a milestone for it.
indeed.
Moving over to awards, there's Cultivator, which is the most greenery, Magnate, which is the most green cards, Space Baron, which is most science tags,
Eccentric.
and that is the most cubes placed on blue, the most resources on blue cards, which really, like would work well with like pets.
Or microbes.
some of those.
Or,
Yeah, when you
Microbes,
get
yeah.
heavy into microbes, like I did that one game.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I've got this one on lockdown.
And then the final one, Contractor, which is the most building tags, which
Mhm.
kind of goes hand in hand with the Space Baron. You get one for the titanium space resources, one for the building steel resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do really appreciate having the slightly different maps and definitely having the different awards and milestones just to kind of change things up a little bit every now and then.
Yes, that is nice.
Otherwise, I mean, these expansions don't really do much, to be honest. So
I never really felt like I was completely different. Like it was a different map, but I know it was like, oh, I feel like all these different, different tactical decisions. I never really noticed that much.
yeah, I agree. It never like super blew me away.
I mean,
in
I'm
that
glad it's
regard.
there.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
the cost is what, $16?
Somewhere around there.
If you love Terraforming Mars, here's more Terraforming Mars. Here's more Mars to terraform.
Everyone
Yes.
always needs more Terraforming Mars.
And now you just need to connect all three together and make a giant terraform all of Mars.
I did find a picture that someone stitched together all of the different maps into like one big map.
yeah.
That looks pretty legit.
Yeah, I mean, I would say it looks even more than just pretty legit. Like that's
That's
Pretty
pretty much
legit.
too. you should quit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you'd ever do with that map, but it'd be interesting.
It
to
exists.
Play.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. It's
Right.
hard. It's hard putting a globe on a flat board.
Mhm. Yes, it is.
You don't say.
Yeah.
Right on. So that wraps up the Hellas and Elysium review. So now let's take a little bit and talk about one that actually changes gameplay a little bit.
Mhm.
The Terraforming Mars Venus Next expansion, which involves you terraforming Venus.
Yep.
So Jeff, you have definitely played Venus the most recently of all of us. So what are some of your initial impressions for Venus and how it changes the game? It mainly adds, before you go into it, like just for everybody's edification, adds a little bit of rule changes. It adds a Venus sideboard where you're tracking the Venus terraforming rating.
Which does not need to be completed to end the game.
That
Right.
is
It
correct.
still ends on the 3 main terraforming ratings. It adds a new milestone tile that can replace one of the milestones on the board, a new award tile, which can replace one of the awards. It adds 5 new corporations and 49 new project cards. And it adds a new rule variant that at the end of each round, and this is the variant that I have adopted into my base play that we talked about earlier, at the end of the round, the active player bumps one of the ratings before passing the first player marker and moving on to the next round.
And you don't get any rewards
Correct.
for bumping that up.
Yeah, even if you move temperature to where you would get a heat, you don't get that if you
Mhm.
use that because the government's doing that. That's
Yeah.
the world government terraforming action. So, but yeah, so now Jeff, now that we kind of went over what it adds, how about you talk a little bit about your most recent experience playing with it, your thoughts on Venus next?
It really depends on like there's 5 new corporations in there.
Yes.
Which are 3 of them are like Venus centric, and the other 2 are just sort of just can be used in general.
Yeah, I think so.
Even if you're not playing Venus, I think you can play with those other 2 corporations.
yes.
So those starting corporations are pretty critical to how much you care about Venus.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Venus cards, there's actually, what was it, 49 cards?
49, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's like 102 or something in the base game.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa. No, sorry. I can't let that one fly. Like I thought that was close enough and I wasn't going to correct. It's 208.
Okay, gotcha.
So
So double what you
Wait,
said.
208 cards or
208 project cards.
project cards? Okay. And this adds 49. So this is adding 25% more cards into the game.
Correct.
And going in, I'm like, I don't see enough cards before. How am I going to see all of these sweet new Venus cards?
Yeah, I mean it effectively adds 25% more cards.
I think I literally just said
Did you say 25%?
I literally just said that.
Yeah, so in theory, like it adds a lot more cards, and so there's a lot you'll see a fair amount of those cards, but it does still just water down the deck, so to speak. Especially if you're going for like one of the Venus corporations, then those Venus cards are just so scattered. Like it's really hard to play one of the Venus corporations and actually get your cards.
There is one of the Morningstar, I think, has to start with 3, or they at the beginning of the game you go through the deck until you find 3 that have Venus tags on them. Aphrodite, that whenever you play or whenever the Venus track goes up, you get $2, and then Celestia. I don't know, it's all German. You get 2 of the new like floater tags at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Also, the other new corporations, you can do a blue action twice, which is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
And then the other one is like whenever you get a production in something, you also get one of that resource, I believe. Like if I get an iron production, I get an iron. If I get a money production, I get a money. Those are pretty universal, but the being able to use a blue action twice is insane.
Yeah, that one is bonkers.
Byron.
And it starts with 48 money, which is a solid amount of money.
But no other real benefit in the game besides being able to use blue cards twice.
Yeah.
A ton. So just the corporations alone.
Yeah.
Fun.
Yes. And especially the ones that don't require Venus, I think are pretty great. You can play with them no matter what. Zach, what about you? What have you kind of thought with the Venus Next expansion?
I mean I enjoyed it. I think that it just added more to the game. It's just like, here's some more stuff that you can do. I remember when I played one of the corporations that was very heavy on floaters. Because when I got floater stuff, it was great, but then it was also really easy for people to be like, well, just don't give Zach floater stuff.
Right.
And it was one of those corporations that was really easy to hate draft. Like, oh man. But I mean, it still felt like Terraform. I didn't feel too burdensome or anything like that. Like I didn't feel like it was just stuffed too much with too many new cards and stuff like that.
Right.
And I think you definitely do need that the world government terraforming, bump. Having that each round, especially, I think that definitely helps. But it didn't make me go, oh wow, this is a brand new game now, like Champions of Midgard or some of those other ones have. And
there is a couple cards in there that are pretty universal, but a lot do have to do specifically with like Venus stuff.
Yes.
The Extremophiles, which is just kind of like a new cheap like microbe card. Also, the spin-inducing asteroid card is fucking insane.
Which one was that?
That one is it's cost 16. You can only do it when you're under 10% on the Venus track.
Okay.
And it will increase the Venus track 2 steps. But just the picture on it, you're smashing an asteroid a quarter of the size of Venus into Venus.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, wow.
You're trying to induce spin in Venus, but clearly they're destroying Venus.
Yeah. Smashing a heavy asteroid at a slanting angle to increase Venus's rotation, reducing day length, and also destroying the planet.
Yeah, like, all right.
Well, I mean, to be fair,
once it's molten and turned back into a planet, in about 1 billion years, we can finally settle on Venus.
I don't know if it'd take that long.
No, it would not.
No, it would not.
But yeah, I mean,
he was heightening reality for comedic effect.
That's what happened to Earth and got us the moon.
It's true, but this is Venus.
Yeah, at least nothing's alive on Venus at the time you do this, presumably.
That you know of.
Except for all of the people who have started to terraform Venus.
Well, to be fair, they don't actually live on Venus. They live in like
the clouds.
The clouds.
I feel the clouds would not help me here.
I looking at the picture of the fireball in that card, I feel like the clouds are not a safe.
No, there's just the bottom clouds. That's right.
Yeah, well, you want to be on the other side of the planet when this happens.
Yeah.
But
and it does add some more tags that you want more of. There's more Jupiter tags. There's more Earth tags, which I don't think there was enough of in the base game, especially if you ever want to run any of those strategies.
Yeah. I could see that, yeah.
I think that this expansion is worth it for the new corpse and the new cards.
Mhm.
The Venus sideboard itself, I was excited about, and it turned out to be very underwhelming, I thought. Like, it's still fun. It's a fine addition, but it doesn't, like you said, Zach, it's not something where it's like, oh, man, this changes it or makes it way better, or it doesn't fix anything that was broken. It doesn't.
It fulfilled my what I wanted from an expansion of more cards.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, a sideboard. All right, we can deal with this.
Yes. And I think you can play with a lot of the cards and stuff without even using the sideboard. Like, I mean, you have to be careful what card, because some of the cards directly reference that,
Mhm.
which you'd have to leave those out in those corps.
Yeah.
You could still add a decent amount of cards and a few new corps to the regular mix if you wanted to just leave Venus out entirely.
I mean, yes, but I feel like it
That seems more effort.
that seems more effort than the amount of effort you'd have to put into Venus.
Yeah.
In the game.
There is a couple cards in there that you could toss into the base game, like that I had mentioned before, that have no reference to Venus in any way, shape, or form. They're just, other little gap filler cards.
Yeah.
That are neat. Like, but there are certain cities and stuff that are only on the Venus board. Kind of like the Ganymede colony and stuff like that. And some of those cities are interesting, like minus energy plus titanium production.
Yeah, right on. So to kind of wrap up the little expansion review here, what do you guys feel about the expansions regarding, like, are they mandatory? Are they nice? Like, do you recommend them? Do you not? Where do you stand in regard to the expansions? Jeff, let's start with you.
The base game, probably going to be fine for a while. And then that high doesn't reach as high as it did before. You have to add a little something extra. That would be the boards. If you want even more, you can grab Venus, but it only adds just so little extra to it. Like, you have some extra cards, but because that 208 card deck is now 257 cards, and those 49 extra cards might not spice it up enough for you. I wish there was more corporations in it. Hopefully there will be a lot more of those in the next expansion, which is going to change even more stuff. But I think it was a little too diluted. But what it does just as well as the base game does. Doesn't make the game any worse.
Right.
Yeah. It's just sort of might not be as good as you wanted it to be.
Right on. Zach, what about you? How do you feel about these two?
Basically the same. Mainly, it's just if you you don't need to get them from the beginning, but when you feel you need board variety, get the board expansion. When you feel you need card variety, get the other expansion. But otherwise, yeah, pretty much what Jeff, like, they don't make the game any worse. I enjoyed them each time. Like, I don't feel they're necessary, but they're a good complement. That if you just want to just extend the replayability a little bit, just adding those is good. And I'm still looking forward to all the upcoming expansions too. So, and also the promos are fine, but you don't need none of those cards are like, you need this card to play it.
No,
Yeah.
Definitely not. For promos. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, I definitely highly recommend Hellas and Elysium once you've gotten to a point where you've played a bunch, and that extra variety in both board layout and the changes to the awards and milestones, I think, really make those two worth it, especially considering you can get those for like less than $20. Venus next, as to whether or not I actually feel it's really worth it. I've never felt like, there's over 200 unique cards. I've never felt like I need more variety in the cards. The additional corporations are nice because, there aren't that many corporations. So it's nice to have some variety there. The sideboard itself, like I said, was underwhelming for me. I was hoping that it'd be a more interesting mechanic than just another track that you can bump that doesn't actually need to be bumped for anything unless you have a corp or a card that benefits from bumping it.
We did forget to mention that you can replace awards and stuff on the baseboard as well.
I mentioned in the components that there was the one award and one.
Yeah, and that does change up a little bit on any of those baseboards.
Correct.
You can cover up that 16 cards in your hand one.
Yes, every single time.
Yeah. Which is nice.
Yeah, but yeah, so I don't think it's bad. It doesn't ruin the game. If you are somebody who wants more cards, go for it. If you're really dying for more corporations, then you can go for it. but I'm not 100% sure that I really feel like it's a very necessary expansion. So,
All right. And it's, price wise, it's not, none of these are like crazy.
they're not breaking the bank.
No.
Really quickly, before we move on to listener feedback, we decided to push ahead with this episode, despite the fact that there's another expansion coming out, because it won't be out till like the end of August, and we didn't want to wait quite that long to talk more about Terraforming Mars, even more than we normally do.
On every episode.
Yeah. The new expansion that is coming out in the end of August is the Terraforming Mars Prelude. It is going to add 35 Prelude cards, 5 corporations, 7 new project cards. So you'll go from that, what was it, Jeff, 257 to 264.
How many new?
7 project cards.
That's not very many.
No. And it's only 5 corporations. So it's not much in that front. The main change is going to be those 35 Prelude cards, which basically you are going to get to choose some of those each turn, or not each turn, at the start of each game. You're going to get to choose some of those Prelude cards that will basically further modify what your starting conditions are, basically specializing you a little more, giving you a little bit more guidance about what you're trying to do in your corporation.
Yeah. They have some good examples on BGG, like start with a plant production and 3 cards, start with an iron production and 2 thermal production, start with 3 energy production. It's pretty base stuff.
Yeah.
They have shown off some previews of some of the cards and things. It looks like they will be universal to the base game. There's no weird stuff about them. And then some of the corporations are pretty basic as well. Like every time you play an Earth tag, draw a card, or buildings are -2 for your cost.
Yeah.
So this seems to be the expansion that everyone kind of wanted, where it's just more like base cards. But there seems to be not much.
No, but so basically the Prelude cards are going to work is that at the start of each game, you draw 4 of them and choose 2 to put into effect. So you get a little like choice in the matter, like, which is great. And then they do really interesting things in 2 ways. One, each of them has a tag associated with it. So like the Biolab has a science tag. So earlier we were talking about how those
Replicant
robots need 2 science tags. It's now very feasible to start with 2 science tags. Or they start with an energy tag or a building tag or whatever. And then they give you some kind of a production. Like the Biolab, you start with a plant production and you get 3 cards. The Mohole excavation Prelude, you start with 1 steel, 2 temperature production, and 2 heat. And then the power generation, you start with 3 energy production. And if you're getting 2 of those cards at the start of the game, you're going to start your engine's going to go even quicker.
Yeah, especially because you can start building more cities and things like that. Because like early game energy productions, there's maybe 1 or 2 cards.
Oh man, it's so rough.
Yeah. Usually you're spending money to just do a standard project to boost that.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the Preludes bump temperature, get 4 steel, 4 titanium. That's an extra terraforming, a plant production, 5 money. These are really, really I think
speed boosts.
Yeah.
For that early game.
Get that game up and running right out the gate. Which I'm really excited for this one. I think Prelude will be one that actually does a lot to improve the game. So yeah, super excited. We will talk more about that though when it releases and we have a chance to actually play it.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. Let's move on here to some listener feedback. We had a BGG thread up over on our guild number 2731. Zach, how about you read us some of those responses?
Yes, I will. So this first one is from Tony. People continue to whine and bitch about how unfair those take that cards in TM are. How do you feel about them with the benefit of hindsight? Are they a spoiler to an otherwise intriguing game, or should folks stop their entitled babyish belly aching and grow the fuck up? Love from Tony.
So first of all, instead of TM, it should be TFM. Just because Terra Mystica was TM for so much longer.
And it came out first.
That's why it was TM for so much longer.
I'm still on Team TM, but
I think TFM is
your TTM, your Team TM.
Yes. Hashtag.
Aside from the 2 very specific cards that I mentioned, that I do think are to take that. I don't have any problem like the asteroids and things killing plant production and all that. No, I think that adds a level of player interaction that you absolutely need in this game. And the people who say the game itself is too mean are definitely entitled babyish belly achers and need to grow up. Love insulting people.
Seems like it.
I do think there are 2 cards in there, which I have removed from my copy, that I think are just a hair too mean without reason.
There's a reason.
I don't buy it.
It's to be mean. Next one is from Scott. I really like the solo version of this. I resisted TM, but I'm coming around on it now. I think it's a very good game, and I hope to play more. What board do you like the best between the base and the expansions?
I really like Elysium.
Yeah, the reverse side.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting change. I like Hellas a decent amount, but Hellas is weird. With the way the South Pole and the big lake.
It would take a lot of playing on it to see how kind of the strategy is going. Because I mean, you do have to change your strategies around quite a bit for the maps.
Yeah, but I think Elysium's my favorite of the 3 maps so far.
And then, of course, it's like what your special tiles that come out where you can start building on the map and all that kind of stuff. That changes every game too.
Indeed.
I have no preference.
I like them all.
I like them all. And if anyone's like, which one do you want to do? I'm like, we'll do this one.
I mean, I'm not regular like, oh, let's play Elysium. It's just if I had to pick one, Elysium's my favorite.
This next one is from Jake, and he's commenting on Tony's comment. Wait, people complain about that? That's insane. It's like 10 cards in the whole deck. Take him out if you want. 1 vote for quit your bitchin'.
Quit your bitchin'.
Yeah, quit your bitchin'.
As 1 word, which is fantastic. And I agree. Like there's 2 that I think are egregious, but most of the rest of them, there's not many, and they're not that bad.
Remove all interaction.
Yeah, really, right? Make this game boring. Why don't you?
Just get protected habitats, and you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
One of you will be fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will be fine. Yes. This last one is from Todd. I played the base game once. I didn't love the look of the game, and it was painfully long. The gameplay was exceedingly random. Too much take that as well. It definitely didn't click with me, but we only played the standard rules, not the variant drafting. I can't imagine doing it as it would significantly lengthen the playtime. I'd much rather play Race for the Galaxy in 20 to 25 minutes and play maybe Ponzi Scheme and Raw in the time it took to play 1 game of Terraforming Mars. Hashtag not a fan. Hashtag hard pass.
Todd, I'm sorry you're so wrong. I there's no other way to say it. Don't get me wrong. Love Race for the Galaxy, and I do love that I can play a 2-player Race for the Galaxy in about 20 to 25 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Painfully long. What's painfully long? 2 hours?
I've heard people say that their Terraforming Mars games regularly run 4 hours. Which if my games of Terraforming Mars were taking 4 hours without drafting, I would probably hate the game.
Well, yeah. Like I said, because I think a lot of people don't push the parameters as much.
They don't understand that that's a
They
key
play around with their engine too much.
Yeah, they're like, if I push the parameter, I'm going to get a point, but if I do my own engine, I'm going to get 2 points. And so they're like, then it's worth doing that. And I don't know.
Because if nobody's pushing the parameters, the game never ends.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, this game could, in theory, go on forever if people just kept avoiding playing any cards that bump heat or water or oxygen.
It's just the game that never ends. It goes on and on, my friends.
Yeah.
Started playing it not knowing what it was.
Exceedingly random? It's just card draw.
I mean, again, especially since you're very rarely wanting all 4 cards anyway. And drafting fixes it, because if you draw 4 shitty cards, you take one of the shitty cards as your discard, pass the other ones to the next player, and then hopefully somebody on that table got a good hand of cards.
Yeah.
So drafting fixes that.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, like I said, with new players, just to save them from getting crushed when they don't know what to draft or what to hate draft.
Yeah.
I play just the regular draws, and I've never felt it was so random, so impossibly random.
Yeah.
I think that again comes from people trying to focus too much on building their engine, and so they're like, "Oh, none of these cards working with my engine," when really some of them are probably plenty good for pushing parameters.
Indeed. Too much take that. Yeah, there's the asteroids, the sabotage.
There's nowhere near too much. Like Jake said before, it's like 10 cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some people, they're like, some people really like games where like, I build my engine, you build your engine, and we'll compare at the end.
Yeah,
and
true.
The fact that I can be like, fuck that little part of your engine is too much for...
Let me just, while I'm working on this part of my engine, and I tighten in this bolt, and then I'm done tightening this bolt, I'm going to throw my wrench over and just see what happens when it hits your engine.
Yep.
Maybe it'll get caught in a belt.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like games where it's like I can barely build an engine because all this shit keeps getting thrown in my engine. I'm get the fuck away from my engine.
Get away from my engine.
Yeah.
I don't like it quite that chaotic, but I do like a little bit of having to pay attention to what is coming my way. And then, like I said, I don't, in my experience, drafting has not drastically lengthened the game for me. That's, again, going to vary largely depending on your group.
If you're very AP prone.
Yeah, if your group is going to sit there and super pour over every card every single time, then yes, drafting can add a solid amount of time. But most of the time, when drafting, I pick up the 4 cards and I can pretty quickly determine which one I want. Grab it and then pass the cards. So, yeah. Otherwise, Race of the Galaxy, real good. Ponzi Scheme, real good. Haven't really played Raw, so can't speak to that.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody who contributed to that. We appreciate your opinions, even if we don't agree with them. Cough, Todd, cough. We do actually still appreciate them. Gives us something to talk about.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that pretty much sums it all up. Hopefully, all have enjoyed this episode. If you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email.
Emails at milehighgameguys.com.
You can join that Board Game Geek Guild number 2731, where we post the weekly episode chats, and you can chime in and get your opinions heard live to tape. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram /MileHighGameGuys, and we are all 3 on Twitter. I tweet under @MHGameGuys.
I am Zach_MHGG.
And I'm Jeff_MHGG.
And that sums it all up. Like I said, thanks everybody for listening. As always, I have been your host, Adrian.
I'm still Zach.
And I'm Jeff next.
Bye.
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 Also, very presciently, Zach was leaning in. He was really raptured by what I was saying.
I was trying to just lean and listen, but I just realized that I was like, this is really awkward because my hand turned to the side, my face was on. I'm just like, yeah, just like this looks weird.
I, for one, was enjoying gazing into your eyes.
I mean, I get it.
Punchboard Media, where we all
bring something
to the table.
Pull up a chair
at punchboardmedia.com.